Bing bong bomb. TED Talk! Schools and education are an important part of everyone's life. It is through education that we're able to gain the knowledge to defer what's right and what's wrong, as well as the information necessary to have a successful career like math and language arts. I'm sure we can all agree that something as important as education should be equal for everyone, regardless of race. However, this isn't what's currently happening. In fact, one of the largest disparities in our education system is that whites and Asians are more likely to be placed in advanced classes than blacks and Latinos. Words alone cannot describe my disappointment when I learn about this problem in the education of not only me, but of every student in the United States. And likewise won't truly show the disparity of advanced course placements between students of different races. I would like to present you with this diagram from the U.S. Department of Education Office for Civil Rights. As you can see, while the Black and Latino students make up 38% of the student population in schools which support advanced course placement programs, a disproportionate amount of only 32% of them are enrolled in Algebra 1, and they only represent 29% of the students passing Algebra 1. This shows that Blacks and Latinos are clearly disadvantaged in the aspect of advanced course placement. There are also more data showing the evident disparity in our educational system. According to the researchers from the Early Childhood Longitudinal Study, they found that black students were 54% less likely than white students to get recommended for advanced education programs. That's less likely than a toss of a coin. I'm sure we can all agree that there is a major disparity here. But what caused this? What allows schools to pick and choose which students get to be in the more advanced classes? The answer is simple: the policy of tracking. With tracking, school assigns students to different classes based on their prior achievement, which may sound like a great way for overachieving students to enter classes that are their level until you hear that not every school implements this. According to Brookings.edu, tracking is more prevalent in suburban middle-class communities and in schools serving white and Asian students, and less prevalent in urban schools and schools serving predominantly Black, Hispanic, or disadvantaged populations. So how do we solve this dramatic racial disparity? Well, right away we can identify two major problems. One, the number of Black and Hispanic students entering advanced courses are disproportionately less than white and Asian students. And two, the policy of tracking isn't used as much in urban areas which serve Blacks and Hispanics. So you might say, if tracking is causing such a major problem, why don't we just get rid of it? That's why I thought so too, but it might actually be harmful. An experiment was conducted in Kenya, where 121 schools were randomly assigned to either use tracking policies or not. In schools which were assigned to use tracking, there will be a class of higher achievers and a class of lower achievers, while schools assigned to be untracked will have two classes of students, which made up of both higher and lower achievers. After 18 months, both the high and low achieving students in the schools which use tracking scored higher than the students in the untracked schools. Specifically, the higher achieving classes scored 0.19 standard deviations higher than the untracked students, while the lower achieving classes scored 0.16 standard deviations than untracked students. Furthermore, this table by Brookings.edu shows that despite 8th grade tracking not having any correlation with AP participation, it does have a positive correlation to the performance on AP tests on students of all different races, proving that the tracking system is actually beneficial and removing it may prove to be more harm than good. Well, how about an increased access to schools with tracking? This will be a solution to our second problem of not allowing Black students in urban schools equal access to schools with tracking, but may not actually create the result of better students as we will hope. This table is detailed with the percentage of students participating in AP classes and the percentage of those AP students that scored more than a 3 on their AP tests. Now, if you were to analyze it carefully, you can see that DC has the largest percentage of 56 of AP participation, which is over half. However, it also has the lowest percentage of 25% of AP test takers who got more than a 3 on their test. Given all the data we just went through, I believe that the best solution would be to not only increase the usage of tracking in schools all over the nation, but also to provide all the students with equal education and encourage them to become high achievers, so students of all different races will be put into similarly advanced classes. Another thing I would like to add is that a higher ratio variety of teachers should be hired, as the research which states that black students were 54% less likely to be recommended for advanced education programs also show evidence of them being 3 times more likely to be recommended if they have a black teacher. However, you and I alone won't be able to solve this problem because we simply don't have the power nor authority to do it. And this is where school administrators come in. School administrators have the responsibility to decide the standard of education as well as who to hire. So with their help, this solution will be able to be implemented for all the students of present and future in the United States, and hopefully bring us one step closer to racial equality. Bong bong bing, TED End.